Hey there guys, welcome back. So up to now we've just been designing the house, but now I actually want to print it out. I want to get it on the sheet so we can see it in a real format. Alright, so in order to do that, the first thing that you want to do is go into the project browser and add a sheet. So right click on Sheets and select New Sheet. A window will appear, and you can load the sheet in 32 by 40, or you can go to Add and then Load In. Just scroll down to Title Blocks and choose the one that best suits you. Now all of these title blocks tend to be Autodesk products, so they tend to come in with the Autodesk logo. If I go ahead and load one in, you can see in the top right there, it says Autodesk. Now in order to actually get your view on the sheet, what I'm going to do is go over to the first floor and click on it, and then drag it in. Don't double click as though you're loading into the plan, just click and drag it into the tile block. Now what we have right now looks pretty perfect, but if you need to shrink it down, you can always click on it and then go under the Properties window and change the view scale. One of the nice things about Revit is you can go in and change your view scale, but it won't change your annotations. So in this particular example, if you zoom in, even though the text is really small, you're not going to have to change any of the room names or the numbers. They're all going to be kept. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and return my floor plan to the scale it was before, so it's visible. And in the lower left, you can see it says First Floor Plan, labeled 1/8 scale. Now, this naming is automatic, and it's based on what you've titled your plans under the project browser. So if you go into your project browser and rename the first floor plan, you'll be asked if you want to change the corresponding level of views. And if you click yes, then it will change everything to that new name. So remember that it is extremely important how you set up your project browser, because that is going to dictate how your drawings are labeled. Now, if you want, you can always double-click to hide these elements. You might want to keep them for reference, though, because, for example, let's go to Sheets and create a new sheet. So now we have two sheets open. So in this new sheet, if I drag in my north elevation and then my south elevation, alright, let's get them in there. Alright, you'll see that, first of all, they're both labeled and 1/8 scale. It doesn't look bad. The line strengths are a little bit much, but we'll go over methods on how to fix that. So, looks pretty good right now. But what's interesting is if we go back to our floor plan and zoom in, you can see that the detail is already called out. So my north elevation is actually on detail. It's on sheet A102, and it's detail 1. So if I go back to 102, it's there. Now another great thing about Revit is its coordinating abilities. So if I change this to 3, and if I go back to the other sheet, it's changed it to a 3. So Revit is great for handling all those little panicky moments of, did I coordinate this detail? Is everything right? It handles all those little tedious bookkeeping deals. The same is also true with sections. So if we open up a new sheet and go ahead and throw in our section that we made, you can see it's Section 1, Detail 1, Sheet A103. Now if we go back into the floor plan, you can see that it's given the same name. So you might notice that the section is a little bit slanted, and you'll have to go in and fix that. But the coordination and the details and bookkeeping things, Revit handles for you. And really, any BIM software is going to satisfy on this level. So if we have all the right sizes now and everything looks good, don't worry about the Autodesk heading on the title block. We'll go over in the next lesson how to change that. But once things look good, we'll go up to File, Print, or you can hit Control-P. Now you'll be given your choices of printers, and depending on the type of printer you have, you can choose different sizes. I'm going to go with Adobe PDF here. And then you also have a bunch of different options. You can combine multiple selected views or sheets into a single file, which is what I personally prefer to do. Or if you choose selected views and sheets, you can create separate files. So if you do that and then hit the select button, you can actually choose what you want to print. So if all of your sheets are good, you can just go ahead and select those 3, and that'll print all those sheets. It'll also ask you if you want to save those settings for a future Revit session. You can if you want to. There are situations where that might be useful, like if you have a bid set or particular settings for construction, but I have no reason to do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and just combine these into a single PDF, and then I'm going to go into the settings options. So once you're in the settings, you can choose the type of paper that you want to use. You'll want to take your title block into consideration. I think I chose a 24 by 36, which is an Arch D. If you're on the metric side of things, which is actually the majority of the world, you can go with the ANSI, but in America and 2 other countries, we use the imperial system, so we are going to stick with Arch. And then I'll also do center and fit to page. Fit to page will do exactly that. It'll adjust your design so that it can all fit on one page. If you want to keep the 1/8 scale, you have to do zoom 100% and make sure to click center. And the options at the bottom just let you hide different things based on different scope values. So scope boxes, crop boundaries, unreferenced view tags, reference work planes. And as you keep on moving along through this course, you'll get a better idea of what these unreferenced view tags actually are. So to give an example, the elevation on the right-hand side of our plan wasn't captured. So hitting hide unreferenced view tags will just make that disappear. So this is good if you have like 1,000 sections in your model, but are only calling out 6. That way the full 1,000 won't show up, only the 6 you want. You can also choose to have vector lines or raster, which is basically the difference between line drawings or rendered. You can choose the quality of the raster, you can choose whether you want black, grayscale, or color. So once you're satisfied with how everything looks, you can go ahead and hit OK and start printing. If you want to make sure of where you're at and you have one particular sheet available, you can always hit preview. That's just a good way for you to check on your drawing before you go through the time of printing and make sure that it's going to look the way that you want. It might look a little bit too dark when you're zoomed out, but don't let that fool you or freak you out. If you zoom in, the full quality will be revealed. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the preview and go back to print. I'm going to select the individual sheets I want printed. Alright, I'll make sure all my setup options are okay, and once everything's good, I will finally hit OK. Once you do that, you'll get an option window pop up asking where you want to save it. So I'll go ahead and hit save. You can see it processing up there in the left. We have printed our sheet. And actually, because we combined all the sheets, there are 3 pages, 1 for each sheet. And that's how you wind up printing and showing your sheets on a particular view. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.